Thankfully, most of us spend more time now thinking about what goes into our slides and creating meaningful slides rather than just sticking our entire talk on slides and reading them off for the audience. So this is good progress, but the next level is thinking about how to make our slides accessible for our audience. And that means that anyone in the audience can read, understand, and focus on what the message that we're trying to get across in the presentation. That's what accessibility means. Here are my top 5 tips for how to make your slides accessible. Tip 1, think about the colours you're using. There's a lot of information out there about what optimal colours is, and there seems to be a lot of differing opinions. So using colours that contrast can help people be able to tell the difference between the colours. Using off-white colours can be helpful for learners with dyslexia. I can see that there's some evidence that putting white text on black colours can be difficult because it can cause the text to look kind of blurry. It's important to think about the colours that you're using, but I think it's also important to make sure that the colours aren't the only thing conveying information. So if you're trying to illustrate something just through the use of colour, it's not going to make your slides very acceptable. So think about contrasting colours, but also think about using other ways to highlight information rather than simply through the use of colour. Tip 2, think about your fonts. So some fonts are going to be more accessible than others. Sans serif fonts are the easiest to read and to be accessible, so things like Arial, Calibri, Lucinda Sans. These are simple and easier to read. What you want to avoid is using very fancy scripty fonts that are just very difficult to make sense of. You don't want fonts that are very compressed, so make sure that you've got adequate spacing between your letters, because this will make it much easier to read for your learners. Make sure you use a decent text size. There's different opinions as to what the optimum text size is. What you're trying to do is that your text can be read from the back of the room, wherever the back of the room is, and that's obviously going to be different if you're doing online teaching and people are sitting by screens, or if you're delivering it even online to a large room full of people. You want the people at the back to be able to read what's on your slides. So 18 size font or 24 even is going to be a safe bet to make sure that it is actually legible, but also make sure that there's adequate space between the lines. You don't want everything crushed together, so decent font size and decent spacing. Also, don't cram loads of words into one line. There should be no more than 6 words per line. If you're writing out whole reams of text, it's not helpful for the learner. So try and space things out, make it easy for them to see and easy for them to read. Tip 3, think about reading order. Reading order is the order that you intend for your learners to look at your slides and process the information. How they interpret the reading order may not always be how you intend it, so that's why you need to think about it. When learners are using screen readers, the screen readers will often pick it up, the text, in the order that was added to the slide, which isn't necessarily in the order that you've placed it on for people to see. So just be aware of how screen readers can read your slides and take that into account when you are planning your order and reading order of your slides. Tip 4, have a copy available. Some people will not be able to make use of your slides at the time, but they will want a copy after. So have that available. That can be in a PDF, you can prepare it in advance. There's various ways to share slides and notes, PowerPoint or whatever program it is that you're using. When you prepare a resource, try and incorporate HTML links that can be easily accessible, and also thinking about alternative text for images, so that if people are using screen readers, that they will be able to work out what the images were that you were trying to use. If you're using PowerPoint, you can also run an accessibility check in PowerPoint that will help direct you as to where you're going wrong or what you can improve on in accessibility for your document. And as a special bonus tip for you, please avoid using animations. This is probably a good rule for life, because I can't think of any presentations that have got better because people have put animations and transitions in between their slides. But know that screen readers do not love animations, so you aren't helping anyone by adding animations, so just leave them out. If you follow these top tips, you'll be able to make your slides more accessible. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll enjoy my video on how to manage your email inbox, which you can see here.